I think it'll be fun and very informative webinar on photography. I was telling Kirk and Dave yesterday that last couple of years ago, I really liked photography and I took this class. So I think 6 weeks or 2 weeks, I learned nothing. So hopefully I'll learn something today because I think we have better teachers. So photography definitely adds value to our lives. How would we remember special events, people, places, food, and the crazy things that we did and we should have forgotten? Photography reminds us of all of those things. It also helps us grow and allow people to share our life experiences with us. So we're in Wellness Month. And what does photography has to do with wellness? So much. I didn't even know that, photography did so much for wellness. So it's like almost like a reset button for a moment, taking a breath, paying attention to the sensory experience. Mindfulness, how to reduce stress and rumination, working memory, focus, and self-insight. So photography isn't just like mindfulness, it is mindfulness. So today we will learn to take better images, use photography as a wellness tool, and also use photography, quality photography to produce quality images, which is also the driving force of engagement. And I know our travel advisors, this is what quality images to, to let our consumer see what we're selling. So today on our panel, our very esteemed business partner, Dureed Whitlock with TASC, but our very professional, well-known photographers, I'm so excited. So we have Kirk Elliott. Kirk Elliott hails from St. Lucia, and Kirk is a National Geographic certified educator. He's into sustainable tourism. He's a TripAdvisor Hall of Famer as well, and he's a photo educator. So welcome, Kirk. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, thank you.
He's in St. Lucia right now, and my other colleague is Dave Cox. Dave Cox is actually in Barbados right now, and I've been following his photos, and I'm really mad at him right now because he makes me want to go to Barbados. But Dave hails from Barbados. He's a Caribbean bride, live in Barbados, and the creative director, and I really like that name, the Digital Coconut. Dave has hotels all over the world, and Dave is really big into the romance industry. So I know you'll give us some tips and trips when we, try images, to make that bride book with you. So without further ado, I'll invite our panelists to take the stage and give us and some wellness ways to use photography as wellness as well. So you'll hear from me again later in after when we've done our discussion. If you have any questions, please put in the Q&A. Both Dureed and I will be helping with the question here. And please, any question that you have, there's no such thing as a stupid question. If even though you think somebody else have asked it, you're welcome to ask again. Kirk and Dave, I'm not sure who's going first, but you have the stage now. I'm going to mute my mic, so you will not be hearing from me. You'll be hearing from the professionals. Okay? And again, thanks for being here.
Great. So, you want me to go first, Kurt?
Yeah, go on, Dave.
All right. We'll jump in here first. Well, first, Kelly, Dureed, all the other members of TASC, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this. I was telling Dureed, I've done quite a bit of this kind of seminars over the last 10 years, but I've never done a photography webinar yet to travel professionals. My clients usually are, I work a lot with hotels, but I also do a lot of seminars with photography students. So I've done quite a bit of stuff like that. So this is quite fun to do this, and I hope everyone enjoys it. Thank you so much for coming. And I promise you this will be painless, seamless, and maybe even some fun. All right, so jump right in there and get my screen up. All right, so hopefully everyone can see my screen from there. Good. All right, so as I mentioned, this is a really fun event for me because I always talk to students, but never to travel agents. I've been a photographer now for quite over 30 years, and most of my work revolves around travel, either travel or romance. And then there are parts of it that combine when I do travel with romance and a lot of destination weddings. So today, I'm wearing a few different hats. When I kind of explain a bit more my background, you'll understand what I mean. But I am a photographer first, but my world have shifted several times in my life, and I've now ended up a lot in publishing and in marketing. So what I'm gonna do today is wear a few of my hats to interchange them and try to make sure that I leave everyone today with some information, not only on taking good pictures, but also taking good pictures that helps you market your travel business. I'd like to start off with this image here because I said all travel images, everything starts with a story. I shot this in Pilanesberg in South Africa. The fun part about it is we actually stood in the road park, in this park for over an hour waiting for a herd of elephants to pass. And to those of you who've probably gone to safaris and stuff, you do not dictate when you're going to pass elephants. Elephants kind of tell you when they're ready for you to pass. So we sat there for an hour just waiting for the whole herd of elephants to pass. And right at the end, there was this mum and these baby calves crossing the road. And I thought it was just a real poignant image. So I really like to start with this to kind of show you how travel could just bring back memories and inspire you to travel around the world. All right, so first a little bit about me. I think Ken can give you a brief introduction. So I've been a photographer now for over 30 years. I started here in beautiful Barbados. I started at the newspapers, shooting everything from accident scenes and fashion, court cases, all the non-glamorous parts of photography. And from there, I was fortunate enough that I found a love in weddings. So a lot of my early work started at resorts across Barbados, shooting on destination weddings. At one point, I was doing something like 3-4 destination weddings a day. So I really found a love in weddings, in destination weddings especially. From there, I left Barbados. I spent a year in New York at university, and then moved on to Atlanta, where I worked as the photo editor and creative director at Pinnacle Publications. And we own 4 of the largest wedding magazines in the Southeast. So I spent most of my time shooting fashion sections for our wedding magazines in Atlanta, over Tennessee, through Alabama, and parts of northern Florida. So my world shifted from just photography to being in publishing and the love of magazines. So while doing that, I started my first magazine, Caribbean Bride, which features destination weddings and romance travel across the region. So we cover weddings from Mexico all through the Caribbean. We now distributed in 7 islands in the Caribbean, in London, Toronto, and New York. And then from magazines, then from Caribbean Bride, then came Live in Barbados. I bought that 3 years ago, and it was a lifestyle magazine in Barbados, but we bought it and rebranded it and really turned it into a more a beacon for just showcasing Caribbean culture, but outside of Barbados. Along the way of publishing, I've done stuff for Eden Resorts. We did all the in-room publications for Eden Resorts, so all the magazines you see across the 11 properties across Africa, and all the in-flight magazines in Jet Netherlands. So they have 32 private jets, so I design all the magazines for them. So my world, I went fully into magazines, which then led me into my last path. Now I ended up starting a company called Digital Coconut. And with my partner, she being the digital part and I being the coconut part, we merged our talents to provide a company that offers services for marketing for travel and tourism. So most of our clients are hotels. So I spend a lot of time now shooting hotel rooms, but also doing all lifestyle images for hotels that really tend to sell not only destination, but the resorts, the culture, and different things you can do around weddings. So as I said from my little intro, that I really want to wear a little bit of all the hats today. So we're going to talk a lot about photography and making you a better photographer, but also using those images to sell, because that's my marketing background. And what we're trying to do is every time you take a good picture is about selling you, selling your services, selling your company, and giving you more business and getting more travelers to destinations. And of course, then as a publisher, it's also important that you understand what we as publishers look for when it comes to photographers submitting images. because for us to use them in our magazines, we need it to be a certain quality and certain layouts. So all that aspects as well you need to take into consideration. So anyway, enough about me, let's talk about the pictures. So first thing we'll be saying about why photography. 65% of humans are visual learners. Look at some of the most fastest growing social networks like Pinterest, Instagram, and Snapchat. So images work. Images in your marketing, images on your website, images in all your materials. This is how you engage your travelers, and they're always highly successful. So it's so important that you use images as much as possible. And this is a very important one we talk to, especially with our clients when it comes to marketing. Because it's not just images, but you need to understand that the average attention span for a human in this survey, I think it was about 2 years ago, it was slated at 8.2 seconds. So you have this small time when people are flicking through websites, going through social media to get your person's attention and make them actually trying to find out about what your service is, what you're selling, and hopefully book for you. So you have a short time to make things happen. So it's so important that your images be impactful, that you can capitalize on as much as possible. And finally, with tweets with pictures get 80% more engagement, and 89% more top favorites, and 150% more retweets than other parts of social media. So when we're doing our social media, it's important that the images that you use are so important to make sure you get a lot more engagement and getting people to come to your website, and finally funneling people to traffic to actually want to book and get services that you are selling. So let's talk some pictures. So what is a good image? So for me, it is always a combination of a few things. For travel photography, the first stage I always look at is the subject. We need great subject matter, a great destination, a great happening, a great piece of culture, something that's really impactful to get people's attention. Secondly, we need that technical aspect of that subject and that image to make it to be a successful image. Proper lighting, the kind of settings you have on your phone and your camera that actually gives you a successful image. Then there's composition, where you put your subject in the frame. Is it 1/3, 2/3, over to the left, over to the right? All this stuff kind of helps you to make a successful image. Does your image evoke emotion? It's so important that every time you see an image, and I always use this as kind of a benchmark for my photography. I look back at pictures now, like I said, I've been shooting for over 30 years, and I look back at a picture and I could remember exactly how I was feeling when I took that picture. And that to me, that was a successful image. I remember I was happy, I can remember what the air felt like, was it cold outside, what I was smelling. Having an image that evokes emotion is what really helps you to have a successful image. And most importantly, and that's why we're all here today, that for you, images make people travel. So I have a customer somewhere in the Netherlands right now. He's looking at a picture on a website for a resort I did in Spain. And he's now realizing, you know what? I need to leave my home. I need to call a travel agent. I need to book a hotel. I need to get on a plane. I need to travel. So good images make people travel. And that's why we're here in business. We're all trying to get as much travelers as possible to make sure that what we're doing is viable. So I'll say good images sell a place. I took this one in just off Grand Cayman. I do quite a bit of underwater photography now. There's nothing that kind of started off really offering, but I had a couple of clients when I shot, I think it was somewhere in Europe, and they really wanted a lot of underwater images to come, because there was a great snorkel, there was fishing and stuff in that area, and they really wanted some images to sell for that hotel. So I've been doing quite a bit of underwater photography now, and I always call this my aquarium shot. I always remember the day I just dove in the water in Grand Cayman, and there's no filters, there's nothing at all. This is exactly what the camera saw. And for divers, we were doing a pamphlet, and for them, having an image like this made people say, oh yeah, this is the place that I need to come and do some underwater adventures. I need to go snorkeling here, I need to go diving. What kind of fish do you have around here? So having an image that sells a place is so important. It really makes people saying, I want to put myself from where I am right now and to get in that location. Good images sell culture. A big part when we do our marketing at Digital Coconut is we're trying to look at what are the motivators for people to travel. And obviously, I'm sure many of you know the whole need for people to travel, and not just do resorts, but people want to travel and see culture. People want to see authentic culture. especially parts of Europe, especially parts of Asia. So a lot of times when I'm doing work, because as I said, my work is mixed sometimes where I'm shooting this beautiful images that were set up with models at resorts, but sometimes I'm always out there trying to get pictures of the destination to show what happens when you leave a resort, what the kind of culture you're going to experience, what the people you're going to meet, what kind of food you're going to eat, what the sound and music you're going to hear. So having strong images that sell culture is so important. So the image on the left, I shot this in a market in St. Lucia. I just walked past there. I just was really amazed that not only at the intricacies of making the baskets, but also the speed of what this lady was doing. And she told me she was like 76 or 75, and she was just hammering out these. So I really stood there and watched her for a while. And I just really loved her movement of her hands and to show the kind of delicate details she's working on. So I took that one there. The one on the right was a fishing village in Tobago. That's a really fun character, and he was very colorful. He was scaling the fish, but he was tossing the air, he's catching them, he's still on the other side. And images like this really kind of show the authentic culture of the Caribbean and of the destination. So it's so important that you take yourself off the beaten path and go there and try to find images that really sell the culture, the destination that you are trying to sell. Good images sell experiences. These ones were shot in Grenada. Again, it was a resort that they were really happy with the kind of quality of snorkeling they have on their property. So we had a guest that we just kind of found a guest on the beach, and we put it in the ocean. We said, well, all you do, just swim, don't worry about it, we can do everything else. We had several bags of bread and different things trying to attract fish, and we spent about 4 hours to try to get one proper image. And sometimes photography, when it comes to travel photography, is really hit or miss. You can get a beautiful image in 10 minutes, just being in the right location at the right time, and the light is perfect and everything happens. Or sometimes you could be there 3-4 hours. I remember after we came over, the lady was quite sick because she spent a couple of hours in the ocean, and she threw up a couple of times, and we apologized and gave her some resort credits, which tried to move it up. But you said something like this is hit or miss. I even remember a couple of shots we had, and we had a beautiful image where her body was in perfect position, but then we had a fish that was just covering her face, or just covering part of her hands. So sometimes it's really hit or miss. And from this shoot, we end up got a cover for Eden magazine. So this is the in-flight magazine we told you about. It was part of Eden Resorts. So we got one of the images from that shoot, and we used it in there, as that was one of the destinations they were really trying to promote. So it's all about selling experiences and giving your travel audience a sense of what they could do when they get to a destination. So not just coming and seeing beautiful the rooms or the pool around, but what are the cool things you could do around a resort? What are the beautiful things you can do? Is it going catamaran? Is it going hiking? Is it going snorkeling? Is it going fishing? But really selling the experiences. That's a beautiful way to make sure you get more travel clients. Good images sell a feeling. The image on the left, I shot that in Toronto, and that was for the closing ceremony at the Pan Am Games. And when you think of fireworks, you always think of celebration. So a couple of companies have actually bought that images for use in different promotions in the last couple of years, all trying to talk about celebrating either like life moments or great personal milestones that you've reached. So a good image can really sell a feeling, either a happy feeling, a sad feeling, but your images should evoke emotion and evoke that kind of feeling. And one on the right, I just love this one too, because it was also another resort I was working for, and they really wanted an image to go on front of their brochure that was kind of showing not only kind of experiences you can have at the resort, but showing you how relaxed and fun you will feel when you're there. So we spent, and I took this image in like 15 minutes. We were on a speedboat in front, and we got a model to the back, and he was just on a surfboard. And we happened to get this great image, kind of showing that kind of carefree lifestyle that you can get when you came to a resort. So it really kind of gave you a feeling of what you can expect if you spent time at that resort. Good images look small, look good small. And we talk about this too as when we come back to our marketing side. Images you use have to be in different scales, different perspectives, because some stuff you use might be for the cover of a website, some stuff might end up being in a magazine ad, some stuff might be on a billboard. So you need to look at when you're shooting images, think of what you're going to use them for at the end, so you can understand what application and what kind of scale and how you should compose images when you're taking them up front. So this was another resort. I think I shot this one in BVI. And this one, the family run on the beach, kind of again showing that it's a resort that is very family oriented. And I got the kids just run on the beach and they're very carefree, and they're really happy with this image, and ended up being the signature shot for the resort for, I think, for like 2 years. At the cover of their website, and they did it in most of their media. So let's follow on from that. Is that when we talk about shooting the images, you need to understand how the size and the shapes and all your things kind of play in. Like the one on top left, that's something we do more for Instagram. Then we have a more horizontal shot. And are you doing it? Are you going to add text? Are you not going to add text? Are you using it for the cover for your Facebook, like the bottom image? Or are you using it for a story? So when you shoot an image, you should also think about what size your final usage is going to be, because that can also affect how we shoot that. Because I shot this image, I could have put the lady in the middle, and I could have gone a lot tighter. But then I wouldn't be able to do all these different applications from that same shot. So it's so important when you're shooting to think of, I'm not just shooting this image today, but think of what I want to use it for tomorrow. What I want it for a poster is an ad, a brochure. So all that dictates how I compose the images, where you put what we call the negative space or free space, or how tight or close I made the image. Because it could be a lot more dramatic if it's a lot tighter, but opening it up gives you a lot more space to add more elements, from text to different aspects like that. So how can I take good images? It's easy for me, so apparently. So the first thing we always say, again, because most of my people I talk to are professional photographers, but most travel agents and stuff that I know do a lot of images. Most people are using their phones. Back when I started, don't Kirk with a test, I mean, we started on film, and the quality of phones in those days were nothing like what you can do now. Like I usually laugh and tell one of my assistants recently that the digital cameras back when it started were like $20,000, and now iPhone could take way better pictures at a fraction of the cost. That's just technology. So don't think that to take quality images you need to spend $8,000 in equipment and another $7,000 in lens. You know, but it's so important that you understand if you get quality images, not just with your phone, but with a professional camera. So when we're talking to about even your phone or regular camera, think about how you look at light. So when you see an image or you see an opportunity, how can light add drama or add emphasis on that image? The one on the left is a picture I did in Marietta Island off the west coast of Mexico. A lot of migratory birds came there, and I waited for the time of the day because I saw from the day before, I kind of scouted the location. The sun goes in behind this rock, and they were just very iconic. You're seeing these kind of silhouettes of these birds, just made it very dramatic and almost ominous. So I really like that. And then on the one on the right was a market in St. Vincent. You bought these bottles where it has like, well, you have like bush rum. So you bought these bottles and it came with all these different herbs and stuff in it, and then you could add your overproof rum. I just shot it from the back with some available light just to make it just seemed a lot more dramatic. I could have shot it from the front and you can see all the colors of the herbs, but I thought it was a lot more dramatic, just kind of adding it this way. So these two simple examples, so you could just use light to really add drama to an image. And then we're capturing moments. The one on the right, I shot that in the swamp, in Trinidad. And it was fun. Like we took a small boat and we waited there in the water for like 20 minutes, because every evening, all the birds you're seeing, thousands of scarlet ibises will come back in after spending the day out fishing or foraging food, and come back to spend the night in the trees. So we would spend that whole 30 minutes just waiting for the birds to come in, and then all of a sudden you hear this loud noise, and then we have thousands and thousands of these birds just flying over and landing back in the trees. It was just a spectacular instant, just capturing that moment, just being in the right position and just waiting. So we could have gotten there and got some really cool shots of the swamp, but just being there and this whole thing happening was a really powerful moment. And then in the image on the left, that was another resort image. And they really wanted to show that families come to this like a resort, but everyone came and all the families played together and all the kids played together, and I got all these kids in this boat. And then all of them decided when we were finished, because this wasn't the actual shot we were trying to take. At the last moment after taking all these perfect shots, they decided that, okay, we're finished now, and they just jump in the ocean. And that ended up being the shot we used for the whole campaign. It was just so carefree. You see one little kid pushing the other kid, the other guy's jumping over, one climbing over the top. And it really gave that sense of youth and vitality and enjoying yourself in a beautiful location. And perspective is everything. So you're shooting the images, should I shoot it straight on? Should you shoot it from the bottom? Should you shoot it from the top? Should you shoot it from the side? Because every angle that you decide has a different type of element to the image. So the one on the left, I shot that in Mexico, and I shot that straight on because I really want to kind of show the happy faces and the singing of these Mexican singers. Well, the one on the right, I shot that actually in, I think it was in Barbados for this one. And I was actually in the water and we had kids shoving off the boat. So I was in the water floating and had my assistant kind of keeping me afloat. And I had my camera in the air as these kids were kind of jumping in the air. And it had a lot more drama, just having the kids with just the blue background and the sky as the background. So two different images, but one shot straight on, one shot from the bottom, shoot it up. Just showing you how perspective can really add a lot of drama to a simple image. And this one I get a lot of questions about, people versus no people. And there's always, it's a constant discussion. The one on the left, of course, I had to bring some wedding stuff here. This was just showing a basic wedding setup. But then on the one on the right, we had a wedding setup, but now we added a couple. And we did a lot of testing. It's quite a lot of technology that we use at Digital Coke to kind of see what images work and which don't work. And we always recognize that images with people always get a lot more engagement than people without than shots without images. So we have all the sets to show you where people enter the website and which images people clicked on most. And it always comes back to adding people always gets you a lot more engagement. That's what you want from good images. Of course, having beautiful settings is great. And for those of you who are like more into art history, like when you think of like Asian art, they always add a lot more space into the image because the concept is that you're supposed to leave space so a viewer can enter the image. So as I said, when it comes to marketing, people work. When it comes to just beauty and selling a location, sometimes we don't need people. So it all depends on what you're doing, what you're trying to sell, what story you're trying to sell, what emotion you're trying to evoke. So when you use images, back to another stat, articles with more visuals get 94 more views online than articles without images. So we always say, use images as much as possible. Whenever you have a chance, make sure you get your images. So not only often in terms of your marketing and your social media, but you also try to do stuff out of season. One of the things we do a lot here with our clients is we wait for the dead of winter, and that's when we send out the shots with the most bluest skies and whitest sand. Because it's so important at those points to really sell the destinations. And keep your content fresh. Keep shooting and keep updating your images as much as possible. Because you have a lot of customers that would come around and they might view your website once a month. Some may come back and view stuff every 2 months. But it's so important you keep updating your images so they remain fresh, that people can engage. So the one on the left was a shot I did in a restaurant in San Francisco, kind of showing the chefs and what they were doing there. And the one on the right was another resort, I think that was in Hawaii, that's showing that people could go out and do this really fun thing, that's swimming with live turtles. So just to wrap it up, a good image is worth 1,000 customers. And that is what we're trying to do. You want to make images that really entice people to want to travel, to want to engage with your brand, to want to engage with all your social media, and to ultimately book the services you're selling. So I hope that something I've showed today that can give you a sense. I mean, it's a very kind of summary approach, but I just want to give everyone just a little sense of what you should be looking for to create those kind of quality images and how images can really impact your engagement and ultimately your sales. So to wrap up, there's my information here. If you ever need information from me, I'm always open to questions, feedback. My website is davecoxpictures.com, and my marketing company is digitalcoconut.com, and my telephone numbers are there. And I'm sure all the information will be available from Kelly. So anything at all that she could pass on for me, any question, let's keep the conversation going. So that's for me. Thank you so much for listening. Hoping it didn't go on too long, but I will hand you over now to Kurt, and Kurt will jump in there and give you some more great tips that could benefit to you.
Thanks, Dave. That was great. We have a couple of questions, but I know we'll be asking afterwards. Two questions. While Kirk is setting up, somebody asked, how do you sell your photos and how does one know how much to charge for a photo?
that could be another 15 minutes of answering there.
Okay, so we'll do it. We'll answer afterwards. And the other question was, what about using intimate traveling goals in your photography? So we can always answer afterwards because I know everybody else wants to hear. So as soon as Cook is ready.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm all set. So let me just share screen. Okay, beautiful. There we go. Okay, so here we are. And I am going to watch the time. Greetings, everyone. Let me just say thanks for being here. And just looking at what Dave went through, I sat here smiling because I concur with it all. And it's interesting that I shoot in a very similar sort of style. Lots of the same thought processes go through my mind as I produce. As Kelly indicated, a couple of things about me. First of all, I conduct the St. Lucia Photo Tour, which is a visitor experience of cultural and culinary authentic immersion centered around photography. And I like to say that breaking that down, basically I take visitors out and I teach them how to use their cameras and I take them into real St. Lucian places that they generally wouldn't have gone on their own. A couple of other things that I've done are National Geographic, certified educator, New York Times, photographer. Here in St. Lucia, I happen to sit on a couple of boards. So the National Trust, the St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Association. So I'm very much into the ambits of photography. As we go through today, I am going to share with you some pictures and sort of the typical pictures that you could find yourself making. And I will share with you a little bit of how I've done them and stuff that you can do. I like to think of this really, everything that I do, as passion meeting photography. And for those of you who have interacted with me before, and even just through this a little bit of interaction with Kelly right here on TASC, you've gotten a feel for my vibes. I mean, I'm high energy, I'm fun, I'm about making it happen. And I'm also about simplicity. I always think that there's an elegance in simplicity. So in terms of seeking to serve you best, one of the things that I did was I sent out this little questionnaire, which asked, among other things, what is your biggest frustration creating great travel pics when you visit a destination? And basically, I thought that that's a challenge that you are likely to encounter as a travel agent. And I want to thank those folks who sent me back responses and just share a little bit of some of what you said. So the top of the heap was people, time, and money. And I think that came in from Teddy. And I sort of smiled when I saw that because it was like, what? What exactly is Teddy trying to ask me? But I'm sure that I'll get some clarity on that. Then someone else spoke about night shots. And then getting pictures with no one else in the background was a concern that came in from Bonnie. So thanks for that, Bonnie. And even thinking back to Dave, coming around to your one of your last slides, where you had that shot overlooking a wedding layout with no one in the picture over on the left versus someone in the picture over on the right. So maybe one of the interesting takeaways, especially since the question of people in the background came up more than once, is really which one might serve you best or which one might serve you better. So just a little thought to keep in mind. Question also came up about time management and also editing and posting. And it is a challenge that I have as well. Sometimes I ask myself, what's the return on investment of posting pictures to Instagram, let's say, and all of the social media, etc., is there a more efficient way for me to use my time and gain greater results? So that I found was a very interesting question coming in from Sheila. Then there was the idea of capturing the pure beauty of a destination to entice clients to visit. Again, Dave alluded to that. There's the idea, the question of lighting in rooms and too dark. And here we had, this I think was from Jennifer, where Jen, you spoke about getting that sort of white look when you use your flash. And one of the things that I can say to you right there to answer that question is you might try bouncing your flash off the ceiling, especially if the ceiling is white, and then it's going to spread the light. You might have to bump the power of your flash up a bit to get the lighting looking right, but that's just a quick tip there. Then Tina spoke about pictures coming out with a slanted horizon. And that is always a challenge. And the way to clear that up is really, if you're using your phone, to go into your phone settings and look for grid lines and turn the grid lines on. Similarly, if you're using a digital camera, generally there's a setting in there that speaks to grid lines. Just turn that on. And then anytime you're shooting a picture, then you can ensure that your horizon is pretty much level. I mean, it might be off by a degree or two, but that generally is not terribly disruptive. Here we are again, time and too many people in the shot. And then look at this one that spoke to trying to figure out what type of photo speaks to most of my clients and how to convey this in a picture. So there was a bit of a recurring theme in the questions, and I was most thankful for them. Here's another interesting thing that folks shared. I asked who's using what? Who's using a smartphone? Who's using a digital camera? Who's using a mirrorless camera? Who might be using a bridge camera? And here is the feedback that I got, that 80% of you are using your smartphones, while 20% of you are using digital SLR cameras. So one of the things that really guided me to was that I decided that I was only going to share with you pictures that came back from my smartphone. In most instances, the smartphone I was using was an iPhone 6S Plus, and then more recently, I have been using an iPhone 8S Plus. So again, just giving you a feel as you look at the pictures that I've brought back. Now, I want to share with you that we're going through very quickly here because when Kelly invited Dave and myself, I thought, wow, this is going to be tight because either one of us on our own could spend 4 hours going through photography with you and not bore you. So I really want you to think of today's session like us meeting for a coffee. This is going to be short, sweet, tight. But I also want to make this the first of many more engagements that I will have with you. And I'm going to give you an invitation to join me as well, because I'm doing quite a bit of stuff now in terms of photography, especially in light of COVID. And some of this I am offering completely for free as my way of sort of helping us overcome the COVID blues and possibly being Netflixed out as well. So I am going to invite you to stick around to the end where I'm going to have a special gift for you, really because of you being members of TASC. And I say really because of you being members of TASC because Kelly and I both hail from St. Lucia, and Kelly and I go back many moons. And I'm going to say many moons because, you know, I might get a rap on the knuckles. Hey, Kirk, they're only supposed to judge me by my good looks and not have an idea of, you know, how many years I might have been around for. So Kelly, I'm pleading forgiveness from now. But again, really on a more serious note, Kelly has a special place in my heart from her days in St. Lucia within the tourism field. And now that she has moved on beyond that, as soon as she said to me, hey, Kirk, I think it would be great for us to have an interaction even beyond what we had before. I was just like, Kelly, anything for you. And for those of you who are very familiar with the Caribbean, I'm sure you know what it's like being here, that you can come in as a visitor and have a particular experience. But when you make connection with someone from that island that you've gone to, it's a completely different kettle of fish, a completely different experience you have. And I'm sure that you will agree that if your clients could have an experience anywhere near that, that they would have come away with amazing value for their vacation. So it is from that standpoint that I am making this special gift available to you just by virtue of the fact that you have been introduced by Kelly. Okay, so this first picture I have shot down in, this is Marigot Bay over in St. Lucia. But as you look at this picture, and again, remember, all of these pictures are shot on my iPhone. And I will share with you that the only thing that I have done with these pictures, they're not straight off my phone, because I take all of my pictures into Photoshop and I do minimal tweaking on them. And when I say minimal tweaking, I can go in and batch tweak a set of pictures in 3 minutes or less. So basically, it comes round to composition, having an eye. So as we look at this image here, and I'm just sort of going across right down here, the whole idea is splitting your image up into a number of sections. As you turn the grid lines on your camera or on your phone, generally your screen is split into 3 equal horizontal parts and 3 equal vertical parts. And the idea is to place elements along those lines as they tend to create more interest, rather than being drawn to placing images or your areas of greatest interest at the center of your image. So if you look over here on the left, look at the palm trees over here, right in that sort of third. Then when I come into this middle area, I've got these little skiffs in the water here. And then over on this side, you've got, oh, this beautiful mega yacht. But look at the ocean down here in what is a bit more than my bottom third. And then I come up to a land area, the green mass coming across, which could be my center third, although it's less than a third. And then coming up the top in terms of sky. So that's just sort of giving you a feel for some of what makes this picture striking. But the interesting thing to note is as you look at the picture, you just probably have gone, wow, that's beautiful, without even realizing the mechanics of what really helps to make it so. Here is another picture. Again, look at this palm tree over on the left and the folks lying under it. Coming back to Dave's question, Dave's statement about having persons in your image. Now, you'll notice in this image, you can't really tell who these people are. So I can sort of get away with putting on, you know, on my site, on my social media, etc. Again, look, my beach area down here, my ocean area, my middle third, and then coming up the top section with my sky.
Is everybody seeing the other slides, or is it just me who's not seeing it? Okay.
Sorry?
I hadn't seen it yet, I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure everybody was seeing it.
Oh, okay. Are we good with that?
Yes, yes. Okay,
brilliant. Now in this next scene, this is walking down, this is along a beach that I generally go walking in the mornings. I might have shot one of those videos that I shared with you from over on this beach. So I was just out walking and there were these guys who had come in and with their fishing nets, with a catch on the beach. And I first of all asked, hey fellas, is it going to be okay if I take some pictures? And they said, yeah, sure, go ahead. So that's the other thing with shooting people pictures, always asking for permission. Because quite often, folks will take offense if you just show up and start shooting, as opposed to you asking, will it be okay? And if someone says no, so be it. Moving right along because there's 6 other people waiting to say yes. So again, if you just check this shot out, there is the energy of the picture. And if we look in the foreground, hitting up on the shore, the waves are breaking right here. So this could kind of be my third. Then I come into the ocean, and then the ocean is going to be my middle third. And then the sky and the mountains over to the left occupying my top third. Look over on the left over here. Notice this little bit of landmass just coming into the picture. And also look at the way that the nets come diagonally in. They actually lead the eye into the picture. So those are just a couple of things to bear. The whole idea of leading lines, lines that draw the eyes into the picture. It's also important to recognize that when we speak about the rule of thirds, you don't have to be falling exactly into thirds because sometimes it just doesn't line up, but just sort of bear that in mind. Again, nothing like the energy of folks, of locals just doing their thing. So here are some guys down on the beach roasting fish. And again, I came in and I went, fellas, will it be okay, you know, if I shoot some pictures? And you can tell from their smiles that they were A-okay with it. Again, you can almost smell the flavor of the fish coming off of that smoking grill. And the whole idea always, just like Dave was saying, your pictures must evoke some sense of emotion, some, oh my God, I can almost taste the fish in this instance. So that's something to bear in mind as you're shooting. Here was a shot. I think I was heading off to Miami, and this is over Sandals Grand in St. Lucia for any of you who are familiar. And I always jokingly say that, you know, while most people thumb a lift in a horizontal position with their fingers horizontally placed, I tend to thumb a lift with my fingers going straight up because I call out to my friends at St. Lucia Helicopters and say, hey guys, I'm traveling, you know, do you have an extra space so that I can jump in the chopper? So this was me heading down to the big airport and shooting out of the window of the chopper. And for any of you who have tried shooting out of the window, let's say of an aircraft, generally you're getting reflections. And there's an easy trick to overcome it. The idea is to turn your camera at an angle, because the reason why you're getting the reflections is the light that is bouncing, it's bouncing backwards and forwards from the glass, so you're getting the reflection. But if you just angle your camera a little bit, and generally you want to angle downwards, then you're absolutely going to eliminate the reflections. So again, I thought that that could be quite helpful for you flying in or flying out to a location, or even flying over a territory, an area, as in this instance, coming back home, and this would have been over the Bahamas. I mean, very familiar sight, you know, for travel agents who have visited and who are selling the Caribbean. Look at, in this shot, how I've angled this sort of feature in the water, that characteristic Bahamian, you know, flying over the Bahamas feature. I've set it diagonally. Again, diagonals in your images tend to be carry more energy than if I had just done it horizontally. Here is a shot over in St. Lucia on the pitons. I was doing some work down there right between the two pitons. And at this point, I just had to stop. I was like, oh my God, look at that shot. And again, just a couple of things that make it work. You'll be familiar again with my idea of the thirds. So here I have the horizon on the third. Look at where I've just included a bit of the palm tree over here. Again, just sort of leading the eye in. This yacht down here, this mega yacht, which is in white, the eyes are drawn to objects that are bright colored before objects that are darker colored. Even the contrasting of the white is a graphical element that helps in my composition. And of course, the majesty of the pitons. And you will notice again, I didn't have it quite centered, but a little bit off-centered. So again, you're hearing that theme just come in all the time. This one was down the driveway of a friend, and you know, as I came in, I was just like, oh my God, this is just so amazing. Being aware of color. This color blue and this color over here, which is a sort of fuchsia, are almost opposites. And opposites in color are considered complementary colors. For instance, black and white. It's why a black and white image is so striking. So again, being aware of color and color palettes. As soon as I saw these flowers, I'm like, oh, this is going to make a beautiful contrast, and all of the vibrance against, for instance, the green, and even the driveway leading the eyes right up through the image. So again, just sharing a little bit of some of what will make a picture rock. In this image, shot at sunset, again, the boat up front, these hobie cats. Again, just giving that sense of the island. Almost, well, the day is done. Here they are back in. The sun is about to set and the palm trees over here. Almost all we're missing right now is a pina colada, or if we were in Hawaii, we'd probably be saying a Mai Tai. Coming back to the point again, because it kept repeating itself, of having no one in the images. The easiest way to have that, if that is what you want, and I generally say, shoot with persons in the image and shoot with persons not in the image, so you have both options. But the idea really is to get up early, get up ahead of everyone else. Speak to someone at your resort, you know, the wait staff, maybe the guys around the pool, just to find out what time are folks normally coming out, or what time am I likely to come out and find this place free. And you'll find that generally early in the morning, you know, while folks are still at breakfast or just waking out of bed, is a great time to get out, and the light generally is very nice. So I thought that I would share this shot, and also to share with you the idea of not only shooting horizontally, but also shooting vertically based on what your shot dictates. I mean, here it was, this palm tree just really was crying out for this shot to be done vertically. Here is another shot, just again, just that typical Caribbean colors. And what I did was I waited for this boat to go through the shot so that it added a bit of energy, a bit of vibrance to the shot, and also just matching up with sort of this white breaking of the surf. Which reminds me, in a lot of my shots, you will see me having breaking surf, as opposed to maybe the surf going back out, because that contrast of the white against the blue and against the sand really draws the eyes in. And look over here, how I'm drawing that white wash right across diagonally, again, drawing the eye into the frame of the picture. Again, the best camera to have is the camera that you have at the time when something is happening. And this scene, I was driving, coming back from somewhere, and I saw this wedding happening. These folks had gone into this park in St. Lucia to shoot their wedding pictures. And I just pulled up and went and you know, just waited until they were all posed and whatnot. And I said, hey folks, will it be okay if I shot a picture? And all I had with me was my iPhone. But look at the picture that I brought back with my iPhone. And while for me, I probably would have positioned them a little differently. Look at them. The light is coming from the back of them. You know, but I didn't want to be intrusive because this wasn't mine, and I didn't want to step on the photographer's toes. So I just shot the shot. But again, you know, just check this out. So just really sharing with you that it's possible to make amazing pictures today with something as simple as your phone. And if you're going beyond that to, you know, a digital camera, well, the sky really is the limit. Here's another shot that I got. Again, this was just driving through the countryside. And here's this lady who every Saturday gets out and makes local bread in this stone oven. You know, so I saw this happening, stopped in, bought some bread from her, and then asked, will it be okay if I shoot some pictures? And she was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I just thought the light, the colors, everything just really, really blended in nicely. And what I hope that I'm doing is really teasing you, my travel agent friends, to realize that you can probably sell your destinations more effectively by showcasing the authenticity of the island. Because the feedback I've been getting, and I'm sure you have been getting as well, is folks really want to travel and experience the real destination. Today, folks are looking for so much more than sun, sea, and sand. So, with that said, I invite you to connect with me at stluciaphototours.com/task. And again, I have set this up specially for folks coming in who are friends of Kelly. And like I said, just being a friend of Kelly means that you're going to get extra special from me. And as you come in here, we will continue the conversation. And I'm also going to invite you to that free photo training session that I have. And you will find a little bit of a write-up on it there. So just wanted to share that with you. And then I also thought that we would part with this aerial shot. Drones are now all the rage. And this is a shot that I shot from my drone. I actually went out and purchased this drone when someone who came out on my photo tour also had a drone. And when I saw the images that were coming back, I was just like, oh my God, my drone has always been the helicopter. Yeah, I was old school. But when I saw what he came back with, I just went out and got a drone. And I've been using mine more for still photography as opposed to video. So again, just sharing with you that you might want to consider a drone for now showcasing views that are just going to wow your customers and help you take your selling to a whole nother level. This over here is Cook Island, over on the north of the island. And I thought that I would part, remember that I promised a special gift for you. So Kelly has given me the feedback that some images I shared really, really went down well. I thought that we'd have this sort of 12 days of leading up to photography. So I thought that I would throw in, 12 of scenic shots that you can use for your promos. And I just wanted you to know, again, someone was asking the question, what do pictures sell for? And very often pictures really sell according to usage. If I had to put a value on this, I would probably say $100 an image. That's sort of a base that I would be coming in at images where I'm really going to leave it, to a select set of persons. So this is me, again, just for you being a part of Kelly's crew, just spreading and sharing some of the love with you. And here you can see connections for me, Kirk at KirkElliott.com, Elliott's with 2 T's. Very often folks drop 1 T. Instagram, I'm at St. Lucia by Kirk. WhatsApp, which is my St. Lucia number, 518-5800. And very often when I'm calling folks out of the US, I generally will call off of a Miami number, which also just rings straight off of my cell phone. So I have included that over there. So that is just giving you a little bit of sharing some photography with you. And I also want to just take a very, very quick moment, literally another minute or so, just to share with you this new place that I've been going. Now that COVID is impacting us, there isn't the ability to travel the way we used to. And it's really going to be the world before and the world after COVID. However, there's still a need for us to put food on the table. And one of the things that I have been experimenting with has been virtual tours. So virtual tours, and I think of it, really offering it through travel agents, where you will be able to sell this to your clients on a commission basis. And the whole idea is, look, since you can't travel right now, you can't come to St. Lucia, let me bring St. Lucia to you. So in this shot here, this is up on the northern end of the island. This is Pigeon Island over here that I showed you a little while ago. And then if I come back around, actually, let me just pop back up here and come in from over here with this one. So this is up close to Pigeon Island. And, ooh, okay, so let me go this way instead. Right, just sort of center us background over here. And then if I come around this way. So this would be the Sandals Resort, Sandals Grand. And then that's the landings over in the distance. And if I come all the way back around, I'm going to come around and we see Pigeon Island over in the distance, which was what we were over a moment ago. Pigeon Island actually features significantly back in the fighting between the English and the French. So this National Trust tour that I'm putting together really features a lot of that history, taking you through all of the military stuff there. And just to give you a little bit of a feel for some of that, this is another aerial overview now right inside Pigeon Island National Park. And if I come around here, just coming around this way, showing you some of the ruins on the island. This has been recreated into an interpretation center. And again, beautiful view of the ocean. If I come around here, some of the artifacts that you can see on the island, the old cannons, for instance. And then I come out of that, and here is a close-up of what's out there. Right, so again, like I said, folks can't come out right now. So this will be taking them around and just introducing you and introducing your clients to some of the history out here. And I'm sort of thinking of it almost like a movie night out. If I come around this way a little bit more on this shot, right over here on Pigeon Island, there are these marker posts. Oops, so now I disappeared with that. Let's go back into here. Yeah, there are these marker signs that really tell the story of what happened back then. And interestingly enough, which again, lots of folks aren't even aware of, come back down here, coming into the 20th century, during World War II, Pigeon Island also featured significantly in the American War of Independence. Actually, St. Lucia was the first territory in which the Americans established a military station, a military presence. That was down at the international airport. And most folks are not aware that up on the north of the island, Rodney Bay, there's an area, this area that we refer to as the ramp, and that actually was a concrete ramp where the Americans flew seaplanes in and hid them. Just trying to bring that up. Right, there we go. So right here, this concrete ramp area, which is the Royal St. Lucian and the Bay Gardens over on the other side. And this really was an area where the Americans brought seaplanes in. During World War II, FDR visited Gros-Islet to inspect the military installations. So really the story that I'm going to be sharing with some of this stuff is going to be taking folks away. Come experience the islands until the time that you can actually come visit. So that is just a little bit of a teaser, pretty much like Dave did, introducing you to photography and also sharing with you stuff that we can still do to help us monetize despite the impact of COVID. So let me just say thank you so very much for your time spent with us today. And I look forward to your thoughts, questions, etc., etc., etc. And also, thanks Kelly, Doreed, Conrad, for helping to let Dave and I come share this amazing taste of the paradise that we all collectively, including you, the travel agents of TASC, really call home. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And this is just a tease because you know what? This has been so good. We want you guys to come back again. So we'll schedule part 2, lesson 1. This was lesson 101. We'll go to lesson 202, you know, because that was amazing. That was really, really good. And I'm so thankful. Some questions I'm going to ask you. Photos are done all horizontally or vertically. I know Jen was answering questions, but somebody asked me images cook horizontally or vertically on the iPhone. I think that's the one we didn't get.
Okay, sorry, what was that question? Because you sort of broke up.
Are all your photos taken horizontally or vertically on the iPhone?
Very often I will shoot both ways. Because the truth is, you never know when you need what. And also in some instances, if I'm shooting for Instagram, well, if I'm shooting for Instagram, I'm generally shooting vertically so that I don't have extra width in. But very often when shooting for Instagram, I will switch to the square format.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for this. This was amazing. I learned so much, and I want to go to the Caribbean right now. I want to go somewhere. So we bringing to read to say the thank yous and let us know what's coming more on TASC. And thank you for your offers. I know everybody will take the 12 images. TASC will take it too. And TASC is all about education. So we will be bringing more stuff like that to TASC. And thank you for taking time off your vacation. I know you just chilled in Barbados on the beach. And Kirk, thank you so much for this. This was amazing. And we'll and give us some more lessons, definitely. So do you read?
Okay, great. I want to say thank you to our esteemed photographers, both Dave and Kirk, for your presentations. What was very interesting to me is that your styles are so different. You know, your focus, your styles are so different, but the information you provided was very similar. So definitely the training that you have in your field stands out, because even though your styles are different, a lot of the instructions and the tips were very similar. So I know I certainly gained a lot from it, and I know that our members are now going to go out and be better brand ambassadors for the Caribbean. They're going to have better pictures. And, you know, the idea is to make sure that they have photography as a key component in their toolboxes. COVID has shown us that, you know, we're going to have to switch to a digital format. However things turn out post-COVID, we know, I keep saying that we discovered the power of technology, and you don't unlearn that. So once we proceed beyond COVID and we will definitely start doing things differently, because we now have a lot more powerful tools that sustained us during COVID, and that won't go away. So thank you once again. Just in terms of housekeeping for our members, as we continue to celebrate National Wellness Month, the next event is going to be our wellness webinar, which I will moderate, and it's on the 25th. And we have 8, imagine that, 8 experts. It's going to be an hour-and-a-half session, but lots of great, from hoteliers to wellness advocates. We have someone who is a yoga specialist. We have someone, I never heard of this, forest therapy. Someone from Puerto Rico who's gonna take us through that whole process and how we can be inspired by the sights and the sounds in the forest, in the rainforest. So if you have not yet registered, please claim your spot, claim your seat for our session on August 25th. And then of course, National Beach Day is on August 30th. We're going to focus a bit on the beaches. Maybe we'll get some great photos from both Dave and Kirk to help us celebrate National Beach Day. And I think that will bring us to the end of our celebration. And when we say celebrate as in S-E-L-L. We celebrate wellness because we practice what we sell. So I know we've kept you longer than an hour, but I know everyone gained a lot from this session. And I want to thank everyone for being a part of it. Send us your comments. We want to continue to bring you some of the tools that you need to adjust your sales pitches and your sales strategy as we try to all survive in this COVID era. So have a great afternoon, continue to celebrate wellness, and thank you so much for your participation. We'll see you all very soon.